children, and welcome to your Tuesday Maths. It's the 8th of February 2021 and we are continuing to learn all about time, okay? And in today's lesson we're going to focus on reading o'clock and minutes to and past the hour on an analogue clock. So let's get started. Okay. First of all, just like yesterday's lesson, I would like you to practice your quick maths. So today you're going to use numbers to make a total of 9. So you can do addition or subtraction, or you might even find some multiplication equations in there too. So I'm going to find the first one for you. 8 plus 1 is equal to 9. Or let's have a look. We've got 6 add 3, which is also equal to 9. So I'd like you to now pause the video and have a little go at finding some more numbers that are equal to 9. Off you go. Okay, time for the subitizing part of our lesson. I'd like you to look at the screen and tell me how many pentagons you can see. Excellent, well done. This time, look for those red dots. Amazing. Now, yellow dots. Super duper. And finally, yellow shapes. Okay, it's now time to review. So in the first one, you are looking for all of the pentagons that you could see. And I can see in the picture there are 1, 2, 3. So well done if you managed to spot that there were 3 there. In the second one, we were looking for those red dots. Well done if you said 1. In the third one, we were looking for the yellow dots. Well done if you managed to spot that there were 4. And finally, we were looking for those yellow shapes. And again, well done if you said that there were 4. Okay, children, now time for our key vocabulary for this lesson. So remember, you should be using it throughout today's lesson in all of your mathematical explanations. Okay, my turn, your turn, hour, minute, hour hand, minute hand, to, past, o'clock. Now, let's think about some of our key vocabulary here. How many minutes are in 1 full hour? So I've got my little clock here. How many minutes are in 1 full hour? Remember, we counted using our 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, remember our blue one is our minute hand and our red one on this clock is our hour hand. And we know that this side of the clock is past. So here, if our minute hand is over that side of the clock, it is past. And if it's over this side of the clock, then it is to. Okay, so remember past and to on our clock. And remember, if our minute hand is pointing all the way at the top of our clock, then we know it's o'clock, isn't it? Okay, that's what we're going to be focusing on in today's lesson. So let's get into it. Okay, children, I thought that for our new learning today, we could consolidate something. Okay, we're going to consolidate this. If the minute hand is pointing at the number 12, then we know that it's o'clock, don't we? Because when it's at the top and it's pointing at 12, we know that the clock shows o'clock. Then all we need to do is look at where the hour hand is pointing, and this will help us to read the time. So if we look at mine now, we know that the minute hand is pointing at the 12, so that's o'clock, and we can see that the hour hand, the little red one, is pointing at the 11. So we know that this reads 11 o'clock. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some times on my clock and I would like you to say them out loud. Okay, right, are you ready? It's a little bit of a game. Let's have a go. Ooh, What time is showing on my clock now? You might want to pause the video so that you can have a moment to read it. The minute hand is pointing at the 12, and what do we know about when the minute hand is pointing at the 12? Okay, pause the video if you would like some more time, because I am about to reveal the answer. Well done if you said that this clock is showing 8 o'clock. The minute hand is pointing at the 12, and we know that reads o'clock. And the hour hand, the little red one, is pointing towards the 8. So we know that it's the hour of 8. So this clock reads 8 o'clock. Let's try another one. Oh, let's see. I'm going to hold it up to the screen now. What time is showing on my clock? Remember to pause the video if you need a little bit more time. Well done if you said 5 o'clock. The minute hand is pointing, the blue one, the longer one, is pointing at the 12, which means that that reads o'clock. And the hour hand is pointing at the 5. So we know that this clock shows 5 o'clock. Let's read another one. Okay. Ready? Go. Remember to pause the video if you need more time. Well done if you said that this clock is showing 2 o'clock. The minute hand is pointing towards the 12, and we know this is o'clock. And we can see that the hour hand is quite clearly pointing at the 2. So this clock reads 2 o'clock. One more. Let's see if you get this one. Okay. Pause the video if you need more time. Remember, we can see the minute hand, the blue one, is pointing at the 12, so we know it reads o'clock. And we can see that the hour hand in this case is also pointing towards the 12. So we know that this clock reads 12 o'clock. One more. This is definitely the final one. Okay, let me just get it ready. Now, children, look closely. Okay, pause the video if you need more time. Now I can see that the minute hand again is pointing at the 12, so this reads o'clock. And this time my hour hand is pointing all the way down to 6. So we know that this clock reads 6 o'clock. Well done if you managed to get that one right as well. Okay then children, we've practiced reading o'clock on our analog clock now. So remember, any time that we're writing or reading o'clock on an analog clock, the minute hand, the longer one, is always pointing towards the 12. Then we just need to look at where the hour hand is as well. And this will help us to read the time. Okay children, time for today's talk task. What I would like you to do is I would like you to think about the idea of past and to on our clock. Remember, we know that half of our clock is past and half of our clock shows 2. So we know that from 1 until 6, we know that that is past. And from 6 all the way up to 12 is 2 on our clocks, isn't it? So we split it right down the middle. We know if the minute hand is pointing towards this side of the clock, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, then we know that that shows past. If it's on the other side of the clock, the minute hand, then we know that it shows 2. So what I would like you to do now is I would like you to have a little go at looking at all of the clocks on the screen, okay? And I want you to decide whether they show 2 or past, okay? So you might want to pause the video here and have a little go at that. So let's just look at the first one together. We can see that the minute hand is pointing towards the 8, and we know that that is on the 2 side of the clock. So this clock shows 2, okay? And I would like you to continue with that all the way through and just have a little go at identifying whether each of the clocks show past or 2, okay? Off you go, you may pause the video. Okay children, let's develop your learning a little bit further. Thinking about the idea of past and 2, I'm going to show you some more arrangements on my clock that I would like you to read. Okay, so let's have a look at the first one. Now, if you want to have a little go, you may pause the video now and have a little look yourself. If you need a bit more support, I will talk you through how you can find the answer. Okay, so if you want to pause the video and have a go yourself, then you can. And if you want to know a little bit more, then please keep me playing. Okay, here, my minute hand, the blue one, is pointing towards the 2. Now I know that that shows that it's on the past side of my clock. Okay, and if I was to count in my scale, I know that there are 5 minutes in between each of these numbers. Okay, because my scale goes around the clock in multiples of 5. So I can see that it's past the hour. Okay, now I also know that my hour hand is pointing at the number 4. So I know it's going to be something past 4. Okay, using the scale, let's count and see if we can identify the time shown on the clock. So we've got 5 past, 10 past. So we know that the clock is showing 10 past 4. Okay, because we've used our scale to help us work it out. Let's have another try. Are we ready? Let's go. Okay, so if you want to have a go yourself, then you may pause the video. If you need a little bit more support, then I will talk you through it. Okay, we can see that our hour hand has not moved. It's still on the number 4. Okay, so we know it's going to be something past 4 because we know also that our minute hand is on the past side of the clock. Now, if we were to use our multiples, we could count how many minutes past the hour it is, because watch, we could do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, because we know that if the minute hand is pointing at the 5, we know that it is 25 minutes past the hour. And here, this clock is showing it's 25 minutes past 4. Excellent job, everybody. Well done. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay. Let's see how we get on with this one. Okay, I'm going to show it to you now. Have a little go at reading it. Amazing. Okay, let's have a look. So this time our hour hand has moved. It's now pointing at the number 3. Our minute hand is pointing at the number 1. It's still not moved from the past side of the clock, so we know it's going to be something past 3. Okay, now if it's pointing towards the number 1, we know that that's 5 minutes past, don't we? Because if we used our scale of counting in our 5s around the clock, we can see that this is 5 minutes past. So we read this as 5 past 3. Well done, everybody. You are working super duper hard. I'm just going to try one more for you now, and I want you to really have a go at this one. Okay? Now, okay, I'm going to hold it up for you. It's a bit different from the last one. What do you notice that is different about this clock? Well done if you've noticed that the minute hand, the blue one, has now moved from the past side of the clock to the to side of the clock. So we now know that it's going to be minutes to the hour. Okay, now we can see that it's pointing towards the 10. The minute hand is pointing towards the 10. So we now know that we need to count the minutes to the next hour. Okay, so if it's pointing at the 10, we know that there are 10 minutes left until the next hour. And the next hour is 7 because our hour hand is pointing towards the 7. So we know that this clock shows 10 to 7. Okay? Now, I don't want you to get too hung up on the minutes to the hour, okay? All we need to focus on today is we need to think about the hour, the past and the to side of the clock. But I really want you to consolidate your understanding of that idea of o'clock on the clock, and that's what today's activity is really going to be about, okay? But well done for trying your best and trying really hard to identify past and to on the clock, okay? Well done, everyone. Okay, children, I'm now going to explain your main activity for today. Now, myself and Miss Buckley realised that some of you were finding time incredibly difficult, okay? So what we've done is we've taken it back a step, okay? So what we would like you to do today is we just want to check that everybody understands the idea of o'clock first of all, okay? So the first part of today's activity is for you to identify the times that are on each of the clocks. Now that might involve drawing the hands on the clocks, or it might involve writing the times on the clocks as well, okay? So you've got 6 little clocks there, and I want you to identify the times for each of them, really focusing on this idea of o'clock, okay? Then the next part of the activity is to challenge you a little bit further, because I know some of us are doing really, really well with the idea of past and to on the clock, okay? So we're just going to practice that a little bit more, and you'll again see 6 clocks on your worksheet. And what we would like you to do is we would like you to draw lines to match it up to its written form, okay? So for example, I'm looking at the first one here, and I can see, I'll just draw the first one there, I can see that the minute hand is pointing towards the 8, so I know it's on the to side of the clock. So I'm going to count how many minutes to the next hour there are. So there are 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to the next hour, and I can see that this red hand, the hour hand, is pointing towards the 7. So I know that this clock is showing 20 to 7. So I'm going to match it up to this one here, okay? So for each of the clocks, you will just draw a line to each and match them up as best you can, okay? So I hope you all get on okay with today's activity, and as always, please send in your work to the person who is marking your work today, and keep practicing telling the time. Make sure that you make use of it at home, and really start to think about that idea of past and to. And also please make sure that you really, really have a good understanding of o'clock. It might be a good idea to use your clocks from yesterday and get your whoever's around, your grown-ups at any point, to shout out random times to you, and you could maybe make it on your clock. Okay then everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with some more maths. Bye bye.